What is up, NerdzGotWordz Universe?
Hello!
Kansas doesn't exist. It's not a real state.
Okay.
Oh, that's how we start this one
That's
off?
what we're going with. All right. Cool.
All right.
Yeah.
You know, it's your
I got
boys
nothing.
here. It's your boys here at NerdzGotWordz, and here to talk to you about Venom.
Let there be carnage.
Let there be carnage.
I forgot about that. second
Was
part.
Sony able to knock it out of the park, or did Marvel need to carry them? We'll get into that when Luis begins. Did they do Carnage justice, or was he a washed villain that they probably could have saved for a later film? And, you know, let's just talk about it. So first, we'll start with you. Not Luis, because he's drinking. We'll start with you, Adrian.
Protein.
Oh, yeah, sorry, guys. Not alcohol.
Yeah, it's a protein shake.
Not
don't,
alcohol.
Don't get it mixed up.
We are trying to
Hands
extend
up.
to the PG-13
Protein.
audience. What do you think about the movie, Adrian? Adrian, initial thoughts?
It was hot garbage, fool. I'm just kidding. No. It was an enjoyable movie. It wasn't like bad compared to like other Sony movies.
So you think it was well, what do you think just going into it?
It was like slightly higher than a man. It
Got it.
was like I said, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't
Like a
bad.
top tier man.
It was a top tier. Yeah, there we go.
A top tier man.
It's a top tier man.
An S tier man.
Mainly because it was like I found it quite enjoyable with all like the jokes they had. I really enjoyed how Carnage actually came out in this movie. Like people were like complaining like, oh, he's just gonna look like a red Venom. And I was like, no, he looked better.
They wouldn't do it like
Yeah,
that.
but he looked better. So I actually, like I said, it's a high tier man for me.
What do you think about it, Luis? Going in?
Going in, I definitely felt it was going to be a solid Once Is Good Enough. I really enjoyed the first Venom movie. It was fun. Had its issues. Wasn't a great movie, right? I think Venom 1 was also a solid Once Is Good Enough.
Yeah.
And this one, Let There Be Carnage, I had a feeling it was going to be the same. I was definitely hoping it'd be better. And I think in some ways it did improve on the first one. We'll talk about that later. So yeah, overall going into it, the trailers got me excited. Venom looked great. As the trailers progressed, the CGI got better and better, and I was very excited for it. And yeah, so going out.
I mean, it had Woody Harrelson. Like,
Well, I mean, Woody Harrelson. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of
he's one of those actors that it doesn't matter what
Yeah.
role he's playing. You're gonna if
Yeah.
you like him, you'll see it for him.
Yeah, and
I didn't think he would be able to pull out Carnage, to be honest.
Yeah.
I had faith going in.
I didn't have that much faith, but in the end, I ended up enjoying seeing him as
Yeah,
Carnage.
we'll get. I have a whole little segment planned for him when we get to him. So you think it's a solid Once It's Good Enough? I personally 100% agree. I honestly, Venom 1 ended on a decent note. I heard this one was coming out, and I wasn't jumping out of my seat excited, like I am for the Spider-Man movie coming in December.
Woo!
But
Woo! Woo!
I definitely felt like they would do a decent job on this one and set us up for something, which we'll talk about later in the end credit scene. Set us up for more, because it's only the second movie, and I'm pretty sure a normal deal is like 10 movies or something, where an actor plays a specific role. Maybe 5
actually.
or 5.
They've changed it up more. Yeah, more nowadays.
Like 5 or
like 3 to 5.
So there's no way. There's no way Venom. There's no way Venom's done. This is more of he's still getting started, and that's what I kind of took this movie as. Now, Murph, what did you think about? What was your pre-rating for this film?
Well, based off of the first one, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was gonna be I'd see it again, but just based off of the end credit scene from the first one alone, having what's his name?
Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson in the movie, just based off of that, I was like, oh, he's gonna be Carnage, and I was right. But yeah, no, I thought it was gonna be I'd see it again, but yeah, he really did a good job as Carnage.
Yeah. So first off, before we get into Woody Harrelson's awesome performance, I want to talk about, Tom Hardy's character, Eddie.
Spoiler warning for anybody that didn't see it. Go watch it. Click off this video. Once you watched it, click back onto us.
Yeah, go watch it.
I mean,
have not seen it.
I know. Have you not seen it by
yeah,
now?
little
but
did
still.
you guys know we're talking out of our ass.
None
We
of us
haven't
have seen
seen
it.
this before. No, but anyways,
I saw it twice.
one thing I think we saw it twice too.
Saw it once.
One thing they
Yeah,
really
twice.
tried to hammer home on this film.
Actually, no, we saw it once.
Exactly, that's why my rating. No, one thing they really hammered home, probably the majority of this film, was just the Venom Eddie relationship, and they kind of went through like a little breakup.
Yeah, apparently they did. Yeah,
And I think that's the thing everyone liked about the first one was their relationship. Seeing Venom talk more, kind of give us that kind of like that Deadpool vibe in a way where they just joke around and stuff. Go ahead, Luis. What do you think about it? Yeah. So I want to hear, how did it compare to the first one's magic, and also its evolution throughout the film, because it did change. It went from there being set rules that Eddie had for Venom. And then it evolved into, okay, now
Venom wants more.
Yeah.
it's taking. He kind of went from a anti-hero to
I would
a noble anti-hero.
So going overall, right? On Venom and Eddie, I like their storyline in this movie, right? Like we've mentioned, it's pretty much like a breakup, right? And I like
expected to happen a little bit.
yeah. And that's what I like, that Venom is becoming his own character, right? I think based off the first one, I was worried that they would make it sort of a Jekyll and Hyde situation,
Yeah.
right? But no, Venom clearly they understand that Venom is a symbiote with a mind of his own. He is his own being, right? He's an alien. And I like that they played on that, right? So Venom has his needs. Venom has things that he wants.
He needs chocolate.
He needs
chocolate.
He would love Halloween.
And chickens.
And I mean, well, that was the thing, right? Eddie was like, you can't be eating people's heads, so you gotta compromise. You gotta eat this fucking chocolate, eat these chickens. And Venom's like, no, I'm tired of it. I'm sick. He literally can't handle it.
I need people.
Yeah, his body needs people. And that was sort of the I guess the straw that broke the camel's back, right? And that sort of and we get that funny scene where they're just like talking shit to each other, and then they have like the classic breakup fight where like they're throwing each other shit out the window and whatnot, and then Venom destroys his bike.
That random guy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call the cops. It's like, what are you doing?
And it becomes a symbiote. He dies, right? It's implied he dies, like because Venom takes over his body and he can't handle it. So I think it was fun. That relationship was great. Eddie, I mean, Tom Hardy delivers. Honestly, something interesting that I found out today was that Tom Hardy would pull up to set, record his lines as Venom, right? The audio people would mix it to sound like Venom. While Tom Hardy was doing his makeup, so while they were filming, Tom Hardy was listening to himself, like the Venom lines. So it was pretty much of him, like,
I mean, if you think
acting
about it,
juxtaposed to his own self. So it was just like I think that's what added to the performance, where he had access to the Venom lines and he was able to just play off of himself.
I mean, it's kind of like when an actress or actor has to play a thing where there's twins, but it's only one person.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
The feedback of playing the scenes, helped them further, divulge into the character.
Yeah,
and immerse himself.
And it's cool that he's playing two characters, right?
Basically.
Like I said, Venom has his own unique personality. So does Eddie. And seeing them grow throughout the film, understand each other. There's a moment where, Eddie tells Venom, like, hey, we are symbiotic. Carnage and Cassidy aren't. Like, they don't work good together, but we do. That was like something that's always been big in the comics, right? The way that they work together. In the comics is very much played up to like a relationship style, symbiotically and whatnot. So I really like the course that this movie took. Very true to the comics, I would say.
Yeah, it definitely it was kind of forced, but as it played out, it just sort of just happened naturally. Now, One thing that I specifically want to mention for this specific part is the part where he's having fun. He's talking shit, and then he's like, "Did you see that, Eddie? I wish you were here." And
Oh yeah.
Adrian, what do you think about that whole scene and just their relationship and how it progressed throughout the film?
It was stupid. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Okay.
No, it was like a good character development in between both characters. Because like Louis said, it shows Venom being like his own kind of character.
Yeah, and at the end of the first film, they were still struggling to deal with each other essentially.
Yeah, they were. Yeah,
and this was like the film that kind of brought them together and made them understand that this is just their situation and they need to deal with each other's needs.
Especially since since Venom needs Eddie, and Eddie, I guess, needs Venom.
Yeah, so, and then the whole thing of where it's like, even Venom himself is changing when he was like, I could just eat, Eddie's like, we don't eat good people, and then Venom's like, we'll eat the bad people, and that's kind of how the movie sort of kind of ended with it, like a divulge towards the end, and more of just its evolution. Now, Murph, so what do you think about their whole relationship?
Yeah, it was kind of like that old married couple, like best friend, kind of like bickering back and forth at each other, like
Ted and I always forget his name. Like the bear.
Yeah, Ted's the bear.
Oh, no, like Ted and
I don't know.
What's
Mark Wahlberg's character?
Yeah, his character.
Ted.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of reminding me of, where it's like they bicker, but they
still need each other.
Yeah.
They care about each other in the end. But the fact that Venom needs chocolate and chickens in order to survive, and that it was getting to the point where it wasn't cutting it anymore. So he's like Eddie, I need brains, and then he's like, no, we don't eat people. Well, and the fact that it was posted on a pizza box on the wall,
the rules,
yeah.
Well, you got to think about it. It's kind of like, I'm taking it as kind of like marijuana. Like if you continuously smoke it, you're gonna gain a higher tolerance, and soon you're gonna have to do more for it to work. And he kept eating chicken and chocolate, and
I think it's more of like I don't think it's more of like being under the. I think it's more of like literally just biological. Like we need water, right? Like we need water to survive.
Yeah.
I think it's sort of that thing. Like
do we?
Yes, we do. Drink a whole ass brisk bottle.
Yeah, we need. We need. To your point, we need sustenance to survive.
And that's the thing with him. It's just like it wasn't cutting it. It's just like if all you do all day is eat like 2 apples, like, you gonna have a good fucking time.
Yeah, exactly. And like when he went into the shop to get the chocolate, and Mrs. Chen didn't have the chocolate.
I love Mrs. Chen, bro.
She was like,
she's alive. Hey, Mrs. Chen, we gotta realize she OP, bro. She withstood Venom. she didn't die.
Yeah,
she was like.
She's like, oh, we don't have the chocolate right now, Venom.
She's Eddie's guy in the chair.
Yeah,
they're like, she's Eddie's guy in the chair.
It's about pride.
Eddie's like,
pride.
what?
Oh,
Venom's like, what? Like, I am happy to eat, Mrs. Chen.
And her face just gave him that.
It's like, no, you will not eat, Mrs. Chen. And then Mrs. Chen's like, what?
Yeah, so Eddie and Venom's relationship, it evolved a lot. I think everyone, even if you didn't think the movie was that good, I think that's a fact that you can. I don't think you can say that you enjoy. Now let's get right into the nitty gritty. Thoughts on Woody Harrelson's performance on Cletus Cassidy. How do we, how he acquired the Carnage symbiote, how he played Cletus, and just Cletus's character in general. We'll start with you, Adrian. So how do you think Cletus was played and how he acquired the Carnage symbiote?
Like at first, I was like, "Oh, I don't think he will be like a really good Carnage or Cassie." And I was like, "I don't think." I was like, not thinking about it. I was like, "No, I don't think it's gonna be good. Like maybe Carnage would be a nice CGI character, but I don't know about how well he will be like as a character."
Yeah, I think his age was kind of a fact. Obviously he can play any role, do whatever he wants. However, Cletus Cassidy was, I believe in the comics, he was like a younger kid, right?
Yeah.
And so being
Yeah.
being played by an older person, it's just interesting to see. So what do you think about how he got the Carnage symbiote? The bite?
Well, it's I don't remember how it originally
It's
was.
similar to the way it was in the comics. In the comics, Cassidy and Eddie were cellmates, and the Venom symbiote came out to rescue Eddie. And in that process, some of the Venom symbiote butted off, and it got mixed in with Carnage's blood. I mean, with Cassidy's blood, and that spawned off the Carnage symbiote. So it's very similar. I mean, they kind of maintain the spirit of it.
Finger, I believe,
they made
right?
yeah, and in the movie he bit his finger, and they kind of maintained the spirit of it, right? Where it's like he ingested part of the symbiote. Obviously, I think one thing a lot of people are overlooking is that when you have a symbiote, it kind of does change you genetically.
Yeah, with the thing with the blood, right?
Yeah,
because like I've tasted blood before.
Yeah,
yours did not taste like
it. Does not taste right.
Exactly.
So I think one thing that really flew under the radar for people, because I think that's a change from the comics. I don't think symbiotes actually affect you in terms of
Blood.
your biological standpoint. So that's interesting that they went with it that route, but it kind of makes sense, right? Because they chose to
I mean, they chose to make Venom his own character instead of just a tool.
Yeah.
And so
True.
you would think
True,
that by
true,
him
true.
having more control, it would just make sense for him to have more control in the film, over his body.
Yeah.
And so Carnage came from a bite, Spider-Man came from a
Blood
spider
transfusion.
bite, Carnage came from a bite of...
As George Lucas would say, it's like poetry. It rhymes.
Yeah, so Murph, what did you think about Cletus's character just in general? Some mad guy who acquired a mad symbiote and went on a rampage.
You just got lucky.
Well, Woody Harrelson nailed the look,
Definitely,
in my opinion, because if you don't know, Cletus Cassidy is normally a redhead in the comic books. I mean, not to say that like
Who looks like Carrot
just
Top.
any
it was
random
orange.
redhead could play him.
Yeah, it's like a reddish
but-
orange.
Okay, thank you.
But he just had that look that, no offense to Woody Harrelson at all,
No,
but like
that looks crazy. No, that motherfucker looks crazy.
that
motherfucker looks
he has
crazy.
a serial killer look,
It's
And,
because
like,
when you've seen Zombieland.
Oh, yeah.
What's his
Tallahassee.
name? Tallahassee.
yeah,
That's who I was just thinking the whole time. But when you started seeing him as like playing the serial killer,
It's like if Tallahassee took the death of his son and really became a villain.
yeah, that's
So
true.
that's why I had a hard time like convincing him. I was like, can he really play Carnage? Can he really be that character?
Yeah, and that
But yeah, I liked it.
and to your point, Ryan, when he actually bit him and it he tasted his blood, he's like, I tasted blood before, and that is not blood. And once he became like momentarily compatible, like air quotes on compatible. They presented the character of Venom better than I thought. Like I thought it was
Carnage,
Carnage.
No, I got you, I got you.
Red Venom.
Yeah. And even when he was fighting Venom and Venom saw him for the first time, he was in a state of panic.
He's
Oh
like,
shit!
He's
He's a
like,
red one.
oh shit! It's a red one!
That was actually really funny.
well, that's because he knows he's like
And he
this
hid.
motherfucker's crazy. So
Yeah.
I don't want to fight crazy.
And he hid in the head. He's like, wait, where are you going? What? I need you to come out.
It reminded me of
with
like
Hulk, right?
with Hulk, yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
I read your mind, man.
He's-
He's like, you're embarrassing me in front of the wizard.
He's like, I'm not fighting that thing. he's like, I literally need you to come out right now. He's like, can we eat anyone we want? He's like,
He had to, like,
he's like,
bribe
yes, you can eat anyone you want. He's like, oh yeah,
Everyone except the
Yeah, so Woody Harrelson, his performance, Cletus Cassidy, was really good. Now, the main question I want to talk about, the whole thing is, will we see Cletus Cassidy come back, played by someone else now that he is in another universe? I'm trying very hard not to spoil the end credit scene until we
Bro,
get
you
to
just
it.
said
So
But
I mean, look,
shut up, Adrian.
We're
I'm
gonna-
trying hard.
You literally said
I
it.
think we should just move into that because overall, I mean, the movie's pretty straightforward.
Yeah,
right?
screw it.
It was an hour and 35 minutes. There was
Yeah,
there's
screw
not
it.
much to go through.
In
So-
case you didn't stay for the end credit scene, which I don't know why you wouldn't, he basically is now in the MCU. Will we see
that.
Carnage and Cletus Cassidy come back in the MCU? You think they're done?
Because here I don't know.
Because there's others Carnage.
I don't know.
symbiotes.
I don't know if you guys have kept up with the latest interviews and news on Spider-Man, but Tom Holland, he recently did an interview, and he talked about how this is pretty much the end of the Homecoming trilogy. And I looked into leaks.
This is what Luis does, man.
And-
And leaks are fake.
And this comes from a source that has been proven accurate. If these leaks are true that I read, and based off what Tom Holland said in that interview, whatever sequel we get to the Spider-Man character is gonna be, I don't want to say completely out of the MCU, but it's gonna be different, right? And I don't think we're gonna keep these characters in the MCU for too long. Honestly, personally, I think that's my idea because I know their deal ends very soon. The Sony Disney deal comes to an end. I think.
I think there's still the
2
deal
years.
is no. I think the deal is one more solo Spider-Man, which is this one, and I
then
think one more Avenger.
Yeah, so Spider-Man's only allowed to pop up in another Marvel property,
Yeah.
but this is the last Spider-Man movie in which they're gonna share, in which Marvel can like have input on it.
Yeah, who knows if they want to re-sign? Who knows? That's a future thing.
Sony, I mean, look, personally, this is the way I see it. Sony doesn't need Marvel. I mean, look, we all love the Tom Holland movies, but let's be honest. Up until this point, Sony has made the best two Spider-Man movies, Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2. You fucking come at me for this, but let's be real here. Spider-Man 1 from 2002 and Spider-Man 2 from 2004, 3, whatever. Point is, the first two, those are still the best Spider-Man movies to be made. You can't deny that.
Fun fact: Spider-Man 2 for the PlayStation 2 was also the best.
That
Spider-Man
game is beautiful.
That is true.
That game paired along with a beautiful movie. Personally,
So you don't
Personally,
think
Marvel-
Sony needs Marvel?
no.
But how come in the movie they just with Marvel like 5 times?
Because that's the part of the deal. So the way it works is, Sony makes the movie, Marvel co-produces. They put up a part of the money, but at the end of the day, it's still a Sony property.
Yeah.
Still a Sony property. That's why you don't see the Spider-Man movies on Disney Plus, because they're not Sony. They're not Disney movies. They're Sony movies.
Now, what do you think about that, Adrian? Do you think Sony needs Marvel?
I feel like they might, and after like all of Spider-Man's done, I don't know if they're gonna be able to make something better without Marvel's help.
I mean, what?
Like don't get me wrong, Venom has been like, what else have they done besides
Venom
Venom?
Spider-Verse. That's fucking.
But that's
amazing.
animated though. That's a whole
No,
different.
but that is canon to the Spider-Verse.
Well,
but I'm referring to like Marvel related though, like MCU.
Well, okay, wait. Well, let's make one thing clear. Up until this point, the Venom movies aren't part of the MCU.
yeah,
They're not. They're Venom 1, this Venom, Morbius. They're not. I mean,
and that's
although-
why they're once good enough. No, I'm just
so,
kidding.
so the thing about Morbius too is that we saw the Vulture in the Morbius trailer, right?
Oh, that's gonna be
That's
so
another.
good. Dude.
That's another thing.
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
I gotta go watch the trailer again.
But again, we
Yeah,
see
Vulture was there.
Vulture in there, but we also see a poster of the
Spider-Man.
of the Tobey Maguire
Tobey Maguire
Spider-Man. So Sony is definitely playing hard into the Spider-Verse.
I mean,
That's all they really got.
I think Sony.
yeah,
once
that's all they really
tweeted-
need. Think
That
about
is
it,
true, that is
though.
all
They
really
tweeted like a number 4, a picture of the number 4 with like spider webs.
Well, that was like
Years
that
ago
was like
though.
2 years ago, bro. At this point,
I know, but I feel like that if the Sony's gonna do anything with
Oh my
Spider-Man, that's what's gonna
God,
lead to
Spider-Man 4.
Spider-Man
So,
4.
Adrian, final decision: do Sony need Marvel?
Toby wouldn't do it.
Toby wouldn't do it. Yeah, you're probably right. Toby wouldn't do it.
I have a theory. Toby's gonna die in this one.
Definitely, he's easily gonna die.
Obviously.
I think if we get a different Spider-Man, like if we get like a continuation to one of the previous Spider-Man, it's gonna be Andrews because honestly, I was very heartbroken that they didn't do a Spider-Man.
Dude, Toby's
Spider-Man
gonna
3.
die for character development.
Toby's gonna bust the freaking Harrison Ford. He's like, I'll come back and do your movie if you kill me off. That's what Harrison wanted with episode 7. And then, Adrian, what do you think Marvel needs? Do you think Sony needs Marvel?
I feel like to make a better story, yeah. Like to continue something and make it bigger, yeah. But when it comes to like if they really need Marvel to like continue making like some kind of Marvel films, probably not.
So here's my personal take. Sony does not need Marvel to make Spider-Man movies. However, without Marvel, I feel like their movies are just going to be kind of, okay, new villain fights the villain, beats the villain. Okay, new villain fights the villain, beats the villain. Like, and sooner or later,
That's what Venom is.
I mean, sooner or later, Spider-Man has a lot.
He has a giant Rose Gallery.
He has a giant.
His Rose Gallery is like comparable to like Batman's, bro.
He has a lot of villains. But do Sony own all the villains?
They do.
They own all the villains.
Sony owns everything Spider-Man related.
Everything Spider-Man.
Everything Spider-Man.
Yeah, but you can only, the phrase where it's like, you can only milk the cow so many times.
Oh no, you can with Spider-Man, dude. This is what I think for those that like.
That team up movie with Infinity War Endgame with Spider-Man just left a good taste in my mouth.
Yeah, but
without him there, it's just,
here's the thing though.
It's this thing
in the comics, right? In the comics, Spider-Man honestly rarely interacts with other superhero teams. He's not really a mainstay of the Avengers team. The team that he interacts the most with was the Fantastic Four when he was a bombastic Bagman.
Yeah.
Which I fucking hope they do renew their contract because I want to see bombastic Bagman in action whenever they do a Fantastic Four sequel because that's gonna be I would fucking love that. Point is though, Spider-Man even in the comics stands by himself. His Rose Gallery and his stories are so huge that he rarely interacts with people. You have so many versions of the Sinister Six you can do. I mean at one point there was a Sinister 66. For God's sake, like
that was just a dream, wasn't it?
Yes,
that was
my point,
quick little issue.
He has almost unlimited villains, but my point still stands that it could still be a very similar play out. They introduce the character, he beats the character, they introduce a villain.
Isn't that every superhero movie though?
Yes, but
I know, but they have more hero options.
Where are they gonna? What are they gonna do? Build up all these minor villains and then have the Green Goblin be a major villain? Like,
no, you build up to the Sinister Six, and then after that, you build up to the Sinister Syndicate. After that, you build up to a lot of things.
But it's just a rinse, repeat.
But you gotta also think about it though. There's a multiverse, right? And within the multiverse is there's Spider-Man multiverse.
Listen, I just want to see more Peter Parker.
Best thing they have coming.
Well, that's what I really think they're gonna play.
Adrian is seeing my point here.
Listen, you can only refill your juice with water so many times until it ends up just being water.
But here's what I'm trying to tell you guys, right? We're playing heavy into the multiverse now, right? Both Sony and Marvel's doing it, right?
Allegedly.
Okay. You have the Spider-Verse, right? So Sony's already established that they already have a multiverse. Remember that. Sony established the multiverse before Marvel did with Into the Spider-Verse because it is canon. Technically, it's canon nonetheless. Technically, the characters we saw in Into the Spider-Verse can interact with Tom Holland's Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. Venom,
how many years before Disney just buys Sony?
Never, because Sony is too damn big to be bought, bro. And Disney needs to stop buying shit. I'm sorry, I'm of the unpopular opinion that Disney should be broken down into multiple companies because they're too damn big. It's
All right. Well, hold on. I want to hear.
I can go.
I know your rant is about to go off, but I want to hear your point. Do you think Sony needs Marvel? And that's the real hard hitting question that everyone's talking about. Honestly,
it's a dumb question.
It's a good question.
Do they need Marvel? No, but are they better with Marvel?
Yeah, that's debatable.
That's the question.
No,
what do you think, Mark?
It's a yes.
Does Sony need Marvel? Does Sony need Marvel?
I got people on my back.
Yes.
I got
they do.
logic.
You
3
think
against
so?
1.
Why do
I'll go
you, why do you
fuck.
think so?
Okay, let's think
I'm
about.
trying to stay on the fence here.
Let's think about this logically here for a second.
Money.
No.
No,
Not
it
even.
is
Not
true.
even. Not even
Money.
Not even just money. Not even just money. Before Marvel was even
Marvel.
like associating itself with Sony. Once you heard that little ding in the beginning of the movie, what did you immediately think?
I'm so lost. I don't know what the fuck we're talking
No,
about.
he's talking about like the Sony intro in movies.
Yeah.
When Sony's sign comes out and does that.
And then you see the with the Statue of Liberty, and you're like,
Paramount.
We, at least I thought,
Columbia.
anytime
there we go. Sorry.
you saw that little ding with Sony in it,
the movie was ass.
we fucked up immediately.
How though? I don't see that because literally Sony's only made 2 bad Spider-Man movies. Be objective. They've only made 2 bad Spider-Man movies out of a total 6. So out of total 5. Spider-Man 1 was good. Spider-Man 2 was good. Spider-Man 3 atrocious. Amazing Spider-Man 1 good. Amazing Spider-Man 2.
So you're telling me
I
that
think 2 was better than 1.
Hulk
For Amazing
was
Spider-Man.
Hulk was Universal.
Hulk was Universal.
Never mind.
Ha Hulk was Universal. Fantastic
How the fuck
Four.
did they get the
Fantastic.
Anyways.
So, Universal still has the rights to distribute the Hulk movies. That's why they can't do a Hulk movie.
Who cares?
No, but I
still
think they finally figured something out.
I
For
heard because
Solo,
I think they want to do a World War
World War Hulk.
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty
Who
sure
cares?
Comcast
I still
sold the
stand
rights.
by my statement. They need Marvel a lot more
No, they
than
don't.
Marvel needs them.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
No, they
Yes, they
don't.
do.
Yes,
I
they
just
do.
said they've only made 2 bad Spider-Man movies. They can
I know,
do
but
it.
like how many times do you think they're gonna keep using this
Literally,
Spider-Man?
my statement.
So hold on.
How many times have we had
So
a
you're-
Batman in the past 20 years?
Okay,
But
but
how many were
DC
there
is
bad?
DC is hot garbage, so we don't even talk
I
about.
want to
Exactly.
know. No. I want to know which.
2?
I want to know which ones
Maybe 3.
you think were the
Spider-
bad Spider-Man movies.
Spider-Man 3 and Amazing
No,
Spider-Man
that
2.
doesn't exist. Spider-Man
Again,
2
I
doesn't
think
Okay.
2 was better than 1.
Look, Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 2 is not like as bad as Spider-Man 3. Let's also be
True.
let's
Yeah.
put that into perspective.
True.
Amazing Spider-Man 2 is I give it a solid 7.5 because this has just become into a Spider-Man talk. This
Yeah,
is just a
let's move
Spider-Man.
on. Well-
This is just a Spider-Man podcast at this point.
My point being is that Tom Holland didn't want to go into the Sonyverse.
He wants to stay in the MCU.
He wants to stay in the MCU.
It's better.
Sony is literally just trying to grab
Here's
all
the
the
thing.
money
Here's
from the
the thing.
Spider-Man movies that it can,
Here's the thing.
just to try and
Here-
maintain.
here-
It's like a leech.
I understand what you're saying, right? I
It's like the
understand what
Venom
you're saying.
symbiote.
Yeah.
You guys just want to see
That's
Spider-Man
irrelevant,
play
right?
around with the Marvel characters, right? What I'm telling you is that Spider-Man has so many good stories that can be adapted that you don't necessarily need the Marvel characters. We haven't even touched Kraven the Hunter. We haven't even touched Prowler and how that affects with Miles and shit.
I would
Oh,
love
you
a
haven't-
Kraven the
I know-
Hunter.
Oh,
You
I
haven't-
know that there's other characters that they haven't touched yet. I'm just saying that in the MCU, it'll be better
Why?
than what they
Why?
do with Sony.
Why? Because you can see look at home.
Name one bad MCU movie
I can name a
that they
few.
did. Okay,
I
go
can name a
ahead.
handful,
Go
bro.
ahead.
Thor 2, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3,
Black Widow.
All right,
Black
that was
Widow.
before
Not the
Disney
worst,
bought
though.
them.
No, that was all Disney, bro.
Yeah, Thor-
That's
Iron
all-
Man 2 and Iron Man 3 were all Disney.
Yes, they're all Disney.
Was it?
Yeah.
No, they
I don't
weren't.
think
Yes,
they
they
No,
were.
I think they
No,
were
they
before. No, they
weren't.
were before Disney.
Yes, they were.
Anyways,
That was before the
Yes,
Disney.
I'm drawing.
Channel.
I'm,
It wasn't.
I'm drawing this conversation back. This is a
Iron Man
podcast.
1 was produced in partnership with Disney.
this is a
That's when
whole.
it happened, bro.
This is a whole nother podcast.
It's-
I just
it's-
wanted to briefly bring it up to hear everyone's thoughts.
Hey,
I knew
it's a
Luis's
Spider-Man
rant was
podcast,
coming
bro.
out.
It's a Spider-Man
No,
podcast.
it's not.
It's a Spider-Man podcast now.
That's our title. Question mark. It's shy. It's a Spider-Man podcast.
It's a Spider-Man
with question
podcast.
marks.
She's like, all right, whatever.
Now let's get back to it. Anyways, I knew this rant was gonna go on, but that's okay.
But either way, the end
No.
the end credit. Are we talking about the end credit?
Yes, the
They
end
bought
credit
them
scene.
off
See,
from
that's
Paramount
another
Pictures.
point. Why would
But
they
they
put
never
Venom in
made
the
it.
MCU if they don't need Sony?
Exactly.
See, Luis,
What's up?
partake to this. Why put Venom in the MCU if they don't need the MCU?
Because you got to tie it off. Because
They could just wrap up with Spider-Man and be done.
You think. Here's what you're not understanding. Disney is not calling all the shots as to the story. They're working together. So obviously they want, if they still have a partnership, they're still gonna want to. Venom is only gonna pop up in home and Far From Home. It's gonna get resolved, and then I'm pretty sure Spider-Man's gonna play around with Venom in his universe.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I could be wrong.
You're not gonna see Venom in more than if they do a Spider-Man 4. That's the only time you'll see Venom in the MCU, and then he'll go back to his universe.
No,
he's not gonna be a mainstay in the MCU.
That wasn't what I was going toward, but thank you. No, I'm pretty. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Disney and Marvel own more of a percentage than Sony does.
No.
With Spider-Man.
Am
I
wrong on
no,
that?
Sony owns all of Spider-Man.
Sony owns all of Spider-Man.
Oh, Sony owns all of Spider-Man and everything related to
Yes.
Spider-Man. So that's every single
Their contract only allows them to share the character. It's kind of how
and then Disney also gets the merchandise rights.
they get a part of it. They get a part of it. They share a lot of the profit.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyways, let's get back to Venom Let There Be Carnage, please, because this is a rant for another time. And
I
it's
think
hot
it's
as fuck in
I
this
think
room.
I think it's appropriate. There's not much to say about Venom. It was a decent.
I was gonna bring up Shriek.
I'll say this about the end
Shriek.
credit scene though. Once he sees the report that J. Jonah Jameson is doing though,
Yeah.
Venom normally would want to eat Spider-Man, but
That's exactly what he wants to do.
He not real. He kind of was more like fascinated with him.
We're not
Other
gonna see
than
We're not gonna
eating
see a black suit Spider-Man.
No.
Oh no! I wasn't.
They're
I
gonna
wasn't,
fight though.
Yeah, no, I wasn't going toward the black suit Spider-Man. I was just saying like he was more fascinated by him than him wanting to eat Spider-Man. You know what I mean?
Okay. We'll tie back to Venom, right? So Venom, at this point, Tom Hardy has been established as a straight up anti-hero, right? He's not opposed to killing fools, but fools that deserve it, right? I think what's gonna happen, right, is you're seeing all this shit blamed on Spider-Man. Eddie doesn't know where the fuck he is. He just got transported to another fucking multiverse, another universe, and I think he's gonna assume that Tom Holland is a bad guy.
Because of the news.
Because of the news, right?
news.
So I think that's how
remember, their
The
rule
news.
is that they only eat bad guys.
Also, this is so much to unpack in that fucking after credit scene, because we do see throughout the movie Eddie works for the Daily Bugle, and so he sees this other version of the Daily Bugle. He's gonna be like, "What the fuck is going on?" So, I think, this is the one part where I'm just don't know what the fuck's gonna happen with Venom, because I think we are gonna see him in No Way Home.
Probably in the end, or like an
I
after
think
credit
in the after credit scene. So I think Venom 3 is gonna tackle Spider-Man. I don't think we're gonna get Spider-Man 4.
It's gonna be Sony's
I think it's gonna be Venom 3.
Oh, Venom 3.
I think it's gonna be Venom 3 with Spider-Man in it, and that would finish off their contract.
So
that would finish off their
to
contract.
try and let it bring back to Carnage.
Avengers 5 will come out to like 2025 though. Think about it though.
I know, but I don't think they're limited. The contract doesn't end until they make that movie.
Yeah, but that would be that would be really interesting.
Anyways, so are we all back now? Thank you. So
what the fuck's happening with Morbius?
There's one thing.
So many questions, right?
The one thing I wanted to bring,
Especially Morbius.
Listen, they barely touched on this, and I feel like there's some low key villains up in there. The lad that Cletus broke the homegirl out of. there was a lot of people with powers locked up in there. You think there's some more Spider-Man villains that were snuck?
So it is very interesting that they moved Ravencroft's location. I mean, obviously we have a multiverse now. You know, we saw Ravencroft in Amazing Spider-Man 2 also.
Yeah.
And typically,
Who's that again?
the facility.
Oh,
their version of Arkham.
Okay.
So typically, in the comics and how we saw in Amazing Spider-Man 2, Ravencroft Institute for the Mentally Insane is located in New York.
Yep.
It was very interesting that in this movie, in Venom Let There Be Carnage, it was actually Ravencroft West. That's what they called it.
Yeah.
So, whether they did this to differentiate from the regular Ravencroft,
you
maybe
think it's just like their West Wing? There's more.
It could be implying that this is just the West Side facility, the West Coast facility, and there's still the East Coast Ravencroft. That could still be a thing, or just implying that, like, hey, in this universe, Ravencroft is in the West. It's in
because
San Francisco.
She Shriek, her powers are strong, and she was there. So I would assume the other
and
people
it's implied she's a mutant, right?
Yeah, I would assume other people had similar powers there. So I was just wondering, could someone have been in there that would just have villains come up later?
100%. I think
like Scorpion or maybe something.
Well, the thing is, we have MCU Scorpion.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And again, it's hard to not talk about. It's hard not to talk about the other movies because they're so intertwined.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest, the Spider-Man fucking movies are more intertwined than the fucking MCU movies are together. And so
thank you, multiverse.
And so we saw, because Sandman is gonna be in No Way Home.
Yeah,
yep.
And this is
Tobey Maguire's
Sandman.
Sandman. We got 3 Tobey villains come back. Imagine we get Topher Grace Venom. Fuck that.
I'm good. I'm good.
He
did die on Spider-Man 3.
He did die. Actually, you're right. So, where the fuck was I going with
the facility?
The facility, right?
You
so
think
it would be
in there?
interesting if we saw different variations of villains. But like I said, we've established a Scorpion. We've established Vulture. Vulture appears in the Morbius trailer.
Yeah.
But we're not sure what. It's implied that Morbius takes place in the same universe as Venom. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think, honestly, all of these questions will be answered after we see No Way Home.
Yeah.
We'll have a clearer picture.
I mean, this movie was essentially a build-up for No Way Home.
Honestly. I mean,
it was like Michael Myers' Halloween Kills is the build-up for Halloween Ends.
It's like Dune is the build-up of Dune 2.
Yeah. What'd you think about that? What'd you think about that, Adrian? The facility, they mainly focused obviously on his love interest, but there was way more people. That was obviously a big facility.
Like, if they're gonna make another Venom movie or what other villains they're gonna use for Spider-Man, it's obviously gonna come from the facilities too. Yeah. They're gonna use that as like a source. It's like, oh, this is who we have, so and so villain. This is who's locked up. Like, it always builds up to something.
They're psycho because they were locked up. Yeah,
it's all those small things that always lead up to bringing someone new, and that's what they always use. It's just that small little clue, like there's someone in there.
I mean, that's the easiest formula.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Because
because she had her own thing, and everyone had smaller cells, but they didn't show like maybe there was a lower, like there could have been a badder villain, like badder people there.
One thing I think. While I was bringing up the mutant things, like she clearly says, like she's like, oh, the mutations have gotten too strong. That's why they're sending me to Ravenclaw. So,
and it's funny that her powers were Carnage's kryptonite.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Next time she screams,
in the comics, they have a relationship too. I forget how they deal with that.
She doesn't scream.
She just doesn't talk. She's a mute. That's it. What do you think about the facility, Mark?
Well, obviously they were trying to hide something if they kept it secret, even from the police of San Francisco.
Which, I was just thinking, like, they're just story cops. Like, what do they know?
Yeah, true, but still, if not a lot of people knew about it, obviously they were trying to keep something other than Screech in there.
Yeah,
we just didn't know who exactly was in there.
Sky's the limit to who can be in there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
maybe Rhino.
That's a good theory. Maybe Rhino. But that's honestly a
Rhino is gonna be in No Way Home.
Rhino's not
I'll
in
put
No
money
Way
on
Home.
that. I'll put money
How
on
much?
it. Put 20 on it, Bill.
Let's go.
You heard in this podcast,
Fuck,
that's
That's
20.
40 bucks you guys have bet on things.
yeah.
What was the other?
It was in, what was what I just posted?
Wait, we better.
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi,
It was
yeah.
What
in
did we bet?
Shang-Chi.
What the fuck did we bet?
So clearly, what we have learned is that this betting is just bullshit. I know this is way delayed, but we didn't do a Venom 1 podcast, and
Nah, we're good.
I mean, obviously we're not gonna do that one. What the? I just want
Venom
more.
1, what the fuck's that?
I don't know which one of you, either Adrian or Luis know more about this, but like some backstory on Venom. Is he? Because so far, all
He's an
we
alien.
know is that he's an alien from outer space. That's it. That's all we need.
Black goo.
So in the comic books,
Black goo.
in the comic books, so Venom technically first appeared as just a regular suit that Spider-Man got during Secret Wars during that event. Later on, after Secret Wars ended, they went back and retconned it to it being a live symbiote, right? A live alien being, and after that, that's when you had the whole storyline of Peter realizing that hey, it's an alien and it affecting it. And then it finds Eddie Brock's body. I think Spider-Man 3, for all its mistakes, kind of perfectly adapted that sort of thing.
Yeah,
where
so
He ditches it.
So
He ditches
basically,
someone else.
basically
Yeah,
all
Eddie.
that needs to be said is that he's just an alien from
he's
outer
just
space.
an
Right?
alien
That's
from outer
really it.
space. I'm sure different universes, different storylines, different writers have probably taken their own liberties on it. But the canonical 616 origin is that he is just an alien from the symbiote world. I mean, in the comics they go into their whole multiversal origin and stuff.
I know the whole Venom's coming into the MCU and leaving, but Captain Marvel, do you think anyone knows their home planet or has an idea? Do you think Captain Marvel or anyone has an idea of what they are?
Maybe.
Do you think I don't even think it even matters.
I don't. Yeah, I just don't see Venom and Spider-Man being that much longer in the MCU to where it'll affect other
Where it'll
characters.
matter, yeah.
Where it'll matter. Personally, that's my belief.
In the end, Sony's just gonna use more of Spider-Man's villains in the end.
Yeah, I mean, Sony's gonna do what they want.
That's basically it. That's what's gonna happen in the
because
end.
they have the leverage. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that you correct me if I'm wrong. Flash Thompson, Peter Parker's bully in the comics, was Venom at one point.
He was one of the Venoms. There's been a handful of Venoms. Eddie and Flash are the two main.
Yeah, in Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah, he was like an agent.
He was Agent
Yeah,
Venom.
Yeah, in Ultimate Spider-Man, Venom was created as a
Anti-Venom. Anti-Venom's not either Eddie or Flash. Or is
I think it's
Eddie?
Flash.
I think it's Eddie.
Oh wait, Eddie. Yeah, it's Eddie
is
because he lost the
He
Venom.
lost the
Yeah,
Venom.
so-
And it was his own blood that sort of
Yeah, so this raises just another question
white
from
blood
this
cells.
movie. These are all, this whole movie is just kind of speculation of what do you think's going to happen. The detective, we see his eyes glow blue.
Who was
And-
that again? I keep forgetting.
So that's
Stephen Graham.
Yeah, Officer Mulligan. In the comics,
In the comics, he gets the blue one, right?
Yeah, he becomes
So
toxin. He
yeah.
becomes toxin.
So that leads
I
to the
thought Toxin
question.
was red and black.
Yeah, he's red and he's half and half. So
Okay.
toxin is Carnage's kid.
Kid, yeah.
Yeah.
So this raises the question of, will we see more symbiotes, or will they just be like Carnage? Will Venom
Well,
will
that's
fight
it. That's
them
the thing
and
with
accumulate them?
Venom. They have the option to keep making more
Yeah.
Venom movies because there's so many symbiotes.
That
Exactly.
goes to my point where fucking Sony doesn't need this because
No.
they have so much shit to do.
That's what that relates
that's
to all
another-
the villains.
That's
That's
another
what I'm
rinse
saying.
repeat.
Okay, because look, let's go back to the original Maximum Carnage storyline in the comics, right? Eventually, what happens is that Spider-Man has to join forces with Venom in order to beat Carnage. Now, obviously, in this movie, we saw Carnage die, right? We saw Venom eat the Carnage symbiote, and
He could
kill-
always come back.
But exactly, he could always come back. Multiverse wumble jumble,
Yeah,
some bullshit,
Carnage
right?
is Michael Myers. He
You can
never
make-
really dies.
You can make a new Carnage. I can't remember. I think
A Carnage.
I think
Michael Myers.
I think Cassidy's always been Carnage. I don't think there's ever been a second Carnage. But
I don't think.
point
so.
is, Venom can always spawn off, and then his spawns can spawn, and
Exactly.
they can do some version of the Maximum Carnage
But
storyline.
do we think there's going to be more symbiotes that will just become a mainstream, or will they appear and then just be done?
I feel like they're just gonna appear and be done. To be honest,
I think Venom.
because Venom's. I think if there's gonna be one symbiote that keeps coming back or like keep making,
It's going to be Carnage.
No, Venom.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Venom,
I was like, what?
I thought you meant alternate symbiote.
No.
Because there's like easily 100 different.
Well, I mean,
strains.
because then they can eventually go into the whole like I was alluding to earlier, the God symbiote, Noel. They could do that whole storyline, that whole
Maybe that's what they're doing too.
and yeah, I mean, and then
That would be awesome.
there's also I mean, they could do the Absolute Carnage storyline, which is like when Carnage sort of gains this sort of fucking godly fucking status in between the symbiote world. So I wouldn't be surprised if eventually we visit the symbiote world or have a glimpse of it. And we have all of these symbiotes sort of going to war and shit. It's like look up the Null storyline.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. It adds a lot to the mythology of the symbiotes,
The lore,
and
So you think that outside of Carnage, like the more melancholy symbiotes, like Toxin, or something, they'll just stick around, or Venom will eventually eat them, and then they'll be done.
If I remember correctly, Toxin. He kind of sticks around, no?
Toxin sticks around.
Sure.
What's his name? That purple one. That purple one's fine, and green and yellow.
I mean, a lot of them stay as villains to
I mean, Venom just creates the fucking rainbow. Honestly,
Venom.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's just. I mean, they all produce asexually, so it's just kind of like.
To your point, though, that would be very cool to see if all of them went to war together.
They do the symbiote shit. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. I would like that. I think they could potentially do that. It's just like I said.
and then they'll just throw Spider-Man in there for clout because that's what they do.
Fuck it. I mean, you don't even need Spider-Man in the storyline.
What do you think?
You
real
do have
quick,
a point, but
or like
at the
just
same
more Venoms?
time,
Yeah.
There's gonna be
name
more Venoms.
5 Sony movies besides the Spider-Man ones and the Venom ones that were actually good.
I'm sure it's a handful, bro. You can't just fucking put me up like. I mean, look up Columbia Pictures movies.
We need to do research on it, but I'd still
Sony
stand
makes
by
good
my
films.
point.
I don't know where this.
Name them. Besides Spider-Man.
You're talking about films overall of all time, bro. Like you know how hard that is to
That's a
do.
rant for another
Yeah,
day.
nothing. Nothing.
Every
Let's
movie
start with
studio
you,
makes.
Luis.
Final
rating.
Once is good enough. Straight up, just once is good.
Yeah,
enough.
once is good enough.
I 100% agree.
Even though I saw it twice.
Panel agrees. Once is good enough.
What does Shy think?
Once is good enough too.
She
I
grabs her
haven't
mic.
even seen the first Venom, so I have nothing to compare it to. But once is
So
good enough.
the typical Shy maneuver. I cannot comment because I haven't seen the other ones. Which is
That's why I'm not part of this one.
She pleads the fifth.
Got it.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you guys for listening in. We appreciate every single one of you, and we want you to be a part of the conversation. So let us know what you think. Are we geniuses?
Or are we fucking idiots?
And remember, Spider-Man 2 is the best Spider-Man film ever.
Shut up, Luis.
Honestly, I agree. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Anyway, what's your opinion? Let us know. We got a lot of stuff coming out, so make sure you like our videos, subscribe to it, hit that little bell so you can get notified when we drop videos.
Yeah, we're gonna start popping off for you guys soon, hopefully. It might be planned stuff, it might be dumbass stuff,
More
That's
debates.
but that's
like the
what you
ones
came for.
Yeah.
More debates, please.
Because obviously Luis thinks he's always right.
I'm gonna
he-
Yeah, Luis wants to get thrown out the damn window.
We need one of those. We need to set up the camera and bring the whiteboard out. That way you can go off.
Don't
forget, I can always mute your mic.
That's fucked up.
Hey, I have a whiteboard.
That's
about
real. I have a
this
whiteboard
big
too.
and long.
If I do research, it's over for you guys. If
That'll-
you give me time to do research, it's over for you guys.
You don't know me.
It'll be
Luis is Batman with preparation time, so we're not gonna
Hell
get
yeah.
it'll be an interesting video. But
I've probably
anyway,
seen more Sony movies than you, bro.
Hey, that's a
I've seen
question
a
for
lot
the
of
Do Not
Sony
Rant
movies.
challenge.
yeah, that's
Luis.
true.
I watch a lot of like I know so much about it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know shit.
All right.
I know a lot.
Anyway, that's the end of the
This
episode.
MCU.
And remember, you can be nerds about anything, but we are nerds about everything. Have a good night wherever you may be.
Deuces.
Bye.
Bye.